class. My name is Sara Flores, and today I'll be talking about the spinal cord, more specifically its structure and its major functions. But first, let's briefly talk about the nervous system, which has two divisions: the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The peripheral nervous system, which has the cranial nerves and the spinal nerves, and the central nervous system, which has both the spinal cord and the brain. And today we'll be talking about the spinal cord. So back to the spinal cord, here's a quick visual of it, and here's a cross section. And here you can see the dorsal horn, the sensory neurons, gray matter, white matter, dorsal root ganglion, sensory neuron, soma, spinal nerve, the ventral root, the ventral horn, and the motor neurons. Again, this is a cross-section visual of the spinal cord. And getting into the structure of the spinal cord itself, we have the cervical enlargement, the lumbar enlargement, conus medialis, filum terminale, and quada equina. Again, there's the visual, and on the far right we have another visual of the cross-section, but how it would look like in each part. Like the first one is the cervical, and then thoracic, lumbar, and sacral. They do each look similar to one another, but also have their own distinct features, as they would in the vertebrae. Remember, our vertebrae is also divided into the cervical, thoracic, lumbar, and sacral. And in terms of function, we have the first function being the conduit for impulses to and from the brain, and the second being the center for spinal reflexes. Getting into the center for spinal reflexes, we do have the receptor, which is sensitive to a specific type of internal or external change. And then we have the sensory neuron, which conducts an impulse from the brain, from the receptor to the brain or spinal cord. And then we have the interneuron, which serves as a processing center, conducts an impulse from the sensory neuron to its synapse with a motor neuron. And then we have the motor neuron, which conducts an impulse from the brain or spinal cord out the synapse with an effector. And finally, we have the effector, which responds to a stimulation by the motor neuron and produces the reflex or behavior action. And that concludes my presentation for today. Thank you.